Okay, let's start throwing in some properties here for our layout. So I'm going to start off with the master, as I always do. I'm going to set my width. Actually, you know what? The master is going to be exactly the same as it has been for the last little while. Width 960, and I'm going to do my margin. I want to center align this guy. So 0 and auto, not audio. Auto. Good Lord. All right, there we go. That's all good. No, but I was about to refresh, but there's really no point in refreshing because there's nothing to look at just yet. And then the header, I'm going to set his height to 100 pixels, and I'm going to set his background color. I'm going to stick with the same color I've been using for the last little while as well, just that number sign CCC. And there we go. There's our header showing up there. He's center aligned. Good stuff. Okay. Now, if it's cool with you, I'm just going to rip right along and kind of pile all the way through this. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to head into my left sidebar ID selector. He only has one property, which is float left. That's it. Okay, cool. Left box. Let's head down to him. This is a class, don't forget. We're actually going to apply this class to 6 divs down the left-hand side. So I'm going to set the width to 150, and I'll set the height also to 150. Background color, throw in what you like. I'm going for consistency. And I'm also going to set a margin top of 5 pixels, just like that. Okay, very cool. Down to main. I'm just going to keep on motoring along here if that's cool with you. Main here, width. Now, how it works, I don't know if you've caught on to this or not, but the main ID selector is going to hold, or it's going to contain, the content and the footer. So we're going to have a left div and a right div and a main div, and then inside the main div we have the content and the footer. As you can see down inside our code, that's how it works, right? So the footer is actually going to be inside the center column, not sitting below the entire layout. That's the idea, right? Okay, so I set the main ID selector's width to 650. I'm going to set some margin values or margin properties as well here. Now, earlier I mentioned some CSS shorthand. I think when I showed you this the very first time, the centering, right? The top and bottom, left and right. Well, what I can do here as well is I can specify all 4 sides inside one margin property if I want. So we have top, we have right, we have bottom, and we have left. And it's the last guy that needs the semicolon. So how it works, if you're going to do it this way, is it goes clockwise, starting at 12 o'clock. Top, left, or I'm sorry, top, right, bottom, left. That's the idea there. Okay, cool. This guy I am also going to float to the left. Wonderful. All right. I'm also going to do the content here. I'm going to just finish these guys off here. I'm going to keep moving here. So content. This is where the main body content of our layout is going to go. And I will set a height for this guy so we can see him. As always, this will most likely be a temporary height property that I set. Let's do a background so we can further see him. And I'm going to set a margin bottom on this guy of 5 pixels. Okay, very good. I hope you don't mind me moving along here. I'm just going to head down to footer and keep going here. He's going to have a height of 50 pixels and a background, as always. Very lovely. We've got 2 more to go here. We're almost done. Right sidebar. He's going to have a float of left. That's it. And my right box is going to have a width of 150, a height of 150, a background color, and a margin top of 5 pixels. Okay, good stuff. Save it up, head back to your browser, give it a refresh. All right. Now, I got my header in there. I got my my left box and my right box, but I'm missing my center content. Aha! Do you see where my mistake is? Ah, geez. I have my content div is looking for a class called content, but I'm using ID selectors here. That's my mistake. So I just need to change my classes to IDs, and that should fix Geoff's problem. There we go. Perfect. Okay, that's exactly what we wanted. Okay, so now all I need to do is just copy out my boxes on the left-hand side and my column of boxes over on the right-hand side. That is an easy job here. So we need a total of 6 boxes. So inside my left sidebar div, I'm going to grab this fella here, grab the whole line there, and paste him out 5 times for a total of 6 boxes. There we go, something like that. And same story for the right-hand side as well. Grab that, paste him out. Okay, refresh. Perfect. Good stuff. Oh, I got an extra box on there. There we go. Good stuff. So that is the Dreamweaver layout, essentially. Kind of the down and dirty version of the Dreamweaver layout, but or the layout from 10 Ton Dreamweaver. Now, the important thing here is that the center content column is going to expand and collapse based on the amount of content that's inside this guy, and of course the footer is going to move with them. Now, this assumes that this content ID selector does not have this height property. You recall this from the earlier exercises, right? But of course, what I can do is I can use my min height as long as I'm careful with Internet Explorer. And then now what I can do is I can start pasting in my content, and this is the minimum height that we would have for our layouts. Maybe I'll increase that. Instead of 200, I'll make that 400, something like this. There we go. And maybe what I'll do, just for good measure, is I'll go and throw in some quick dummy text into that center column there. My content div anyway. So this is where things get really hairy, because now all of a sudden I've got nested divs and all kinds of other wacky things going on here, right? So this is where the code really starts to get a little bit unwieldy, a little bit out of control, but hopefully you can somehow manage here and keep everything straight. So the idea now is that the footer is going to be dynamic. He's going to move, again, based on the amount of content that we have inside the main content div. So the minimum height there is 400 pixels. There's the position of my footer. I refresh. There's all my content now. And of course, the footer gets shoved down towards the bottom of my page, which is great. Now, you might want to do some fiddling. I should adjust my margin above my content block here, or my content layout div. And I might want to adjust the margin below as well, maybe the margin below my 2 columns there. These should be fairly easy fixes. Hopefully it's nothing that hangs us up too badly. But in any regard, there you go. There's recreating the sample layout from 10 Ton Dreamweaver using floats rather than using positioning properties. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a lot. Now, you know, I was wondering something else. Of course, all the way along this entire DVD, we've been working with our floats, of course, but we've been hand coding everything and creating everything from scratch. And I wondered if you would be interested in knowing how to do this stuff in Dreamweaver. Maybe you're a little bit more comfy in Dreamweaver. So that is the next bonus lesson that we have for us. Let's go and check out how to create float layouts or floating layouts using Dreamweaver.